so frustrating. Like, I was just, oh, absolutely not worth it. It was just like, oh, super intense. It was actually a prison cell. Hello everybody, my name is Julia and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share how acting school traumatized me and why I hate New York ever since. It's going to be a very interesting story. Get comfortable, get yourself a cup of tea, anything you like, and I will dive into it. But before, please subscribe to my channel. I'm filming videos here every single day, so subscribe and I'll be seeing you every single day. Okay, so where do I even start? I will start with the fact that I right now live in Los Angeles and I graduated from acting school more than a year ago. So all the trauma kind of faded away a little bit, and now I'm free to talk about it and, share my story, because I've been dreaming about filming this video for so long. When I was in this acting school, when I was actually like going through all this stuff, I was just like gonna sit down and actually talk about what I've been through. But now, since I don't like have anything to do with this school, I can freely share. It's my platform, I can do whatever. Let's start with the fact that I moved to the States in 2022 for acting school. So I'm an international student. I am from Russia. I was born and raised there. 2022, I was working as a producer and I thought, you know what? I think I know what I should do in this life, and I should be an actress. And I don't want to study acting in Russia whatsoever, and I really want to move to the United States in order to do it, because the whole entertainment industry starts from America. So yeah, hell yeah, I want to move to America and I want to study acting. My initial goal was to enroll to NYU, Juilliard, USC, all those big schools that I was kind of dreaming about. In 2022, there was a Ukraine invasion, and so I had to move and think faster and do something like way faster. I found a school with rolling admissions, meaning I would be able to enroll into the school any time of the year. I would need to wait for the fall of 2023 until I can go and enroll and blah, blah, blah. And then AMDA, College of the Performing Arts, kind of popped up on my Instagram. I decided to apply because I was looking for schools with rolling admissions, and I was just like, oh my God, that's the sign. Like, I need to enroll, I need to apply, and because I need to leave the country as soon as possible. The whole thing has started in my country. I was working full-time and I was applying for AMDA, and the application was pretty simple, but long story short, I got in. I moved to New York in 2022. Then we are starting my New York era, which was the worst era of my life so far. I don't know if anything was worse than that. So I am coming to New York freshly out of this whole mess, that political mess that was in my country. I was so ready, so prepared. I moved out of my country by myself. I had no family, no friends. I was just like ready to go, ready to pursue my dream and do acting and study that. And I was fully committed. I was fully ready to go. I was just like, I don't care about anything. I care about acting. I care about my education. I really want to build my career here. In my country, in Russia, we do treat education and schools kind of in a different way. We are used to very tough environment, and I'm very used to tough environment. Nobody's gonna ask you like if you're tired. If you're tired during the class, for example, you'll be kicked out. Like if you didn't do your homework, nobody's gonna care about it. Like you'll just be kicked out of this class. That's my kind of background, where I'm coming from, and I'm used to it. So I'm Always when I go to school, I'm very prepared. I'm very on track with everything. And I noticed a huge gap in between my expectations and reality. It's a conservatory. I was expecting this school to be much harder and much more intense than it was actually. But I noticed right away how different was the environment I happened to be in. For example, all my classmates and all the people in the school pretty much were there kind of just to have fun and figure out what they want, and if this like the career they want, and just to kind of explore. Whether my stakes were much higher, like I needed this career specifically in order to stay in this country, actually get my documents after I graduate. And for the majority of people, it was just a college life, a college experience, like drinking, partying, all that stuff that I was not interested in. I was actually interested in studying. I was very disappointed in the beginning. I was just like, where am I? Why am I paying so much? What is going on? I came all the way here. The whole journey that I made through different countries to get here, to be in the same room with people who fall asleep during the class, who can just not show up, who can forget about homework. I don't know, just simple things like that. And that's my own perception. I came ready to go and it was my problem kind of. But I still think that it should be like this. The standards should not go lower. I was expecting the same level of seriousness and commitment from the whole school, the whole environment, and it was not meeting my standards whatsoever. So first semester I was in New York, and the teachers were pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I learned so much from my teachers first semester and second semester too. I was an acting major, but I was taking voice classes aside of my main classes, and that was very, very helpful. We had voice rehearsal studios. It was kind of there for you if you wanted to rehearse, if you wanted to kind of run through the scenes. If the teachers in general, they knew what they were doing, and when you were just starting out, they were kind of showing you the basic stuff. But first semester was just the first half of it. I was just are we actually gonna talk? Are we actually gonna do it? Are we actually gonna talk about that stuff? Isn't it so simple? Why am I paying so much to get this? But during the midterms, everybody was kind of okay, now we kind of get it. And ever since, everybody was just working, especially in my cohort, it was pretty good. But we had really cool classes. Actually, I learned so much from stage combat. We were doing unarmed and rapier and dagger and broadsword, and we did so many cool combos. We also had on camera, we had scene study, we had improv, we had dance, and it was cool. Genuinely, the class, the curriculum was pretty interesting, and I was actually interested. Still, there were some classes that didn't feel challenging enough. I didn't do much to get an A, but whatever. Also, gen eds, who does gen eds in acting conservatories? I don't mind gen eds, but as long as they're actually useful. If it's something so random and I don't even remember anything from that class, I don't know, why is it there? Now we're going to actually a bad part of it. The dorms. I cannot tell you how bad the dorms were. It was actually a prison cell. No joke, I swear. It was small, it was dark, there was one sink for two people for everything, to brush your teeth, to do, to wash your hands, to wash the fruits that you're eating. Everything was one sink, one shared bathroom for 4 people, which is okay, whatever. That's one desk, and a communal kitchen for 900 people. I'm not even talking about cockroaches and the hygiene of people around 18 years old. I'm just gonna like shut up about it, but just the dorms were the worst part of it all. And they cost so much to live in Manhattan. I'm sure, like, you know, it was just like, what am I doing? Also, I couldn't go anywhere for Christmas break, for Thanksgiving break, because apparently I couldn't go back to Russia. It was, you know, we don't have direct flights anymore. So I was stuck in this dorm. I was there alone for the whole like 2 weeks. The mold, I got sick so many times. I'm gonna just stop it here. I lived there for 9 months, which felt like like I'm living in a prison. I was just surviving there. God, and they changed the dorm now, and they are in a different dorm right now. But I was the last semester who went through all this crazy dorm experience. Tuition was insanely high for the quality of everything. In my opinion, I think it's absolutely not worth it. You go to a very good school and you partially pay for your community, which I'm not sure if that's the case for that specific school. I felt like I moved across the globe to study something that did not meet my expectations at all. But I got through the first semester. I was sick all the time, so we added to New York experience too. I was laying down with fever all the time, couldn't miss a single class, but I had to do it because I was sick all the time and I couldn't go to an urgent care anymore because my insurance didn't work. And it was just so bad in that matter too. And just New York felt so cold, so lonely, so miserable. And that whole school experience, the dorm experience, I didn't have that much, community and friends around. So it was just like all super intense for me. Starting second semester, we had a little bit of a different cohort, and the classes were a little bit different and teachers were a little bit different. But in terms of teachers, like second semester I think was one of the best, but there was one teacher who made our journey in that school way harder than it was supposed to be. This teacher was making us very uncomfortable, sort of say. We didn't learn that much from that class. We were just pushed towards the direction we didn't want to go to. I didn't learn from that person. I was just scared of that person, and that person, by the way, got fired. I wonder why. In terms of teachers, the other teachers in second semester were amazing. I learned a lot during the second semester, not gonna lie, but the whole experience with the second semester was kind of ruined because there was a classmate in my cohort who made the whole learning process so complicated, and the whole environment very disruptive. Teachers had to stop the class constantly and deal with that person, and I thought it was so unfair to us, to the rest of the cohort and to the rest of the class, to pay so much money to be in the same room with a person who could not handle the intensity of the classroom. They had to stop the class, try to calm that person down, and we were constantly waiting for the class to start again because we just waited for that person to calm down. Also, there was so many things that were not supposed to be there. There was a hygiene problem. It was just non-ethical sometimes. I was questioning my presence there all the time. We submitted so many complaints about that person. Nothing happened. So unfair to us. People who needed proper education that we couldn't get because there were people in the classroom who were not meeting the basic standard. And that was so frustrating. Like, I was so overwhelmed during the second semester because I was going to school from 8 to 5, then I was working. Then at school there was like the whole like thing with my classmate, with my teacher, and then I had to do my homework in this horrible dorm that I was living in. So the whole experience was so bad. So I moved to LA because I was going to move to LA eventually, and I thought, oh, I better do it like now since I can transfer for third and fourth semester to LA campus. And I'm so glad I did that because I still live in LA and I love the city so much, and partially because I lived here as a student, so I had a chance to explore it a little bit. And then I moved out of the dorm and I was, already kind of feeling the energy of the city. In terms of academics and in terms of campus, God, I thought New York was bad. No. New York was, at least I learned something. Like I told you, like I learned a lot from my teachers. I learned a lot from, the curriculum. It was pretty good. But here in LA, teachers were so lenient. They did not care. And I went through the summer semester, which is like very chill, not a lot of people show up. One of our teachers would show up in the class with like swim shorts and flip-flops and release us like 2 hours earlier than it was supposed to be. The only acting note I got from that teacher was good and good and good. That was it. That was it. Yeah, it actually was a scam. It's like it's literally why it's called AMDA. And I agree completely. Like, what is that? Like, it's actually a scam. Other acting teacher, we had 3 classes per week with that teacher. God, I learned nothing from that class. And I'm that person who can learn from anybody. Like, literally anything I hear, I will actually like try to learn from it. And I'm telling you, I didn't learn anything from that class. Anything. Maybe one Shakespeare monologue. That's it. Like, it's literally how bad the teaching was. It was just nothing. Same with my classmates. They were not ready to work. They were not prepared. They were coming not knowing their lines. They were coming not knowing their character. They haven't even read the plays that they were doing. What is going on? And I felt like, what am I doing here? What am I doing in this environment? Because your environment is supposed to grow you, not like, put you down. People would not show up for classes because they were asleep at 10 a.m. I mean, maybe it's something normal. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, to me, that does not make sense. Why would you pay so much? Why would you go to an acting school to do stuff like that? Like, I do not understand that. That was kind of what it was with my third semester. I was so frustrated. I was so disappointed. I was questioning my whole studying, my whole career, like everything. I was questioning everything. But it's not supposed to be like that. We pay so much for these classes to learn, but we pay so much to be released 2 hours earlier because it's enough. No, I'm sorry, but no. So fourth semester, actually, that was like one of the best semesters I had here, because we were doing our capstones, meaning our final showcases, and we're so busy with our rehearsals. We had a couple of classes that were so beneficial. We had an audition class, we had our business class, and I thought these classes were actually one of the most beneficial classes in this school. I learned a lot about like my audition experience, how to do it, how to sit, like everything I know now is because of those classes. So I think fourth semester was really like good, and I moved out of the dorms, so that added a little bit of life. After graduation, I was just like, God, Thank God I'm out of there. And when I was coming to the school, I was reading about this whole AMDA situation online. For anybody who doesn't know, AMDA is known in social media as Scamda because, you know, how bad the quality is for the amount of money you pay, which I completely agree with. Like all the stuff that I told you here, like for me, it did not make sense. I'm not gonna say that this is okay. It's not, like, it's clearly not. The way the New York campus worked and the way that my third semester LA campus worked, just like the whole acting school, and a lot of people I talked to from different acting schools, they were sharing pretty much the same experience. And I'm like, why is it like, what kind of acting school would you recommend to go to? Because I know there's so much I can learn about acting, and I met a lot of great teachers during my fourth semester that I can, you know, go to right now and ask them questions, and it'd be like really, really cool. But other than that, what did I get from this school? Almost nothing. Almost nothing. And that was very frustrating because, as I told you, I was ready to go. I was very committed. I was really like dedicated to this craft. I feel so much better now that I shared that information with. Maybe just think about it twice if you want to commit to something like that, especially as an international student, since you don't have anywhere to go to, kind of. But yeah, that was my traumatizing experience at my acting school. But yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I will see you tomorrow.